All right, I do record so I can send them out or put them on the shared drive so that people who miss them can get on there. And I know this is a lot of times you guys are driving, and that's fine to just stick it on and on your drive home. And the slideshows that I use are always in the shared drive, so you can get those links later too. But thank you for joining and being on time. I'll go through this quickly, and then if you have questions, you can stay on. And if not, then you can have a great extra long weekend. All right, orders. I apologize that there's been changes with that password. I have checked it. This one works. The password now for school specialty is order 123. And for middle school, your deadline is going to be the 19th. Charity, if you didn't get yours in, because we had those issues with school specialty, I pushed that elementary one back to the October 14th. So that's next Thursday.
I think I spent on my budget the first.
All right, then you're good. Yeah. And a lot of you have already ordered, and that's great. You don't have to wait till the deadline. We appreciate it if you even try to get it in the summer. But if you haven't, we do have those deadlines, so we can cut off. And what we do is if you don't put an order in, we place an order for you. So we want to make sure kids are equitably treated across the district and have access to art materials. But you don't get to choose. We get to choose for you. So usually Wendy chooses. So
Be nice. Be nice to me. I'll pick good things.
yes. All right, receiving. We found out after we got a bunch of angry emails saying we're not receiving that there's a process through Munis, the system we use to order, that we have to say whether you got your order or not. So I know some of you haven't gotten things yet, and that's fine. But if you have received your stuff, please use the form and put in whether you got it or not. If it's a partial order, we do need to know like which items you didn't get. And if you've lost your packing slips, please just email Ashley, and so we can at least get those processed. There has been issues with the form, I think, because people are trying to like scan each packing slip individually. If you use your campus copier, you can actually use it like a scanner and just put all of them in at once, and it'll suck them in and copy them or scan them, and you can have it emailed to yourself, which will then save it as just one PDF, and so it makes it easier to attach that form. If you're struggling and you still would rather just like take pictures of it, you'll have to email that to Ashley, but the form is our preferred method just to try to keep track of it all. All right, if you're missing items from your order, you're going to have to contact Tony, with all those school specialty things. There have been a few things that have been like discontinued or like way back ordered. You can contact him about how much that is, like how much money that was, and you can submit an order for what you didn't receive or different items. But you do have to resubmit that order in the BPA drive. But that's just if you're missing items that aren't going to be sent to you. And I think there was like, quite a bit of glaze or something like that. I think one of our teachers ran into that. But we do need those item numbers on the things you didn't get, so Ashley can put them into Munis. Hispanic Heritage Show, we had a lot of participation and we really appreciate that. So thank you for those who entered, and big thank you to your students. And Ashley will be creating their, sorry, my mind's kind of done by 4:50, which I'm sure your guys' are too, the certificates, and we'll send those out through inter-office mail. And I put a link to the show in here. It's also on our website that we put all our shows. So make sure your parents get those, and it'll go up on social media. We did struggle. Several people made copies of the slideshow, and so then Ashley had to merge them together and try not to miss any. if after we've created the show, if you want a copy, contact her and she can change the permissions. But right now you can't save any files we have on there and move them to your drive because we have too many people deleting files and things. So, so as we move forward with these heritage shows, please, please, please don't make a copy of the slideshows because it just creates a lot of confusion in there. So just add your artwork to that one. Our next heritage show is our Native American, and those images are due on the 25th. I've linked a form about like what to do and what to avoid when teaching about Native American art and artists. There were some things on there that I was surprised about that I didn't realize were offensive. So please take time. It's only like 2 pages and it's like bulleted, and it is the same one I've used in the past, but please make sure that we're being culturally responsive and check that out before you teach anything about Native American to your students, because it's very different than what maybe we did in elementary school. And so we want to make sure that we're being respectful to that culture. So check that out. And then it's a great way for your students to participate. All right, lastly, this is for Chris. Question is, what would renovated auditoriums, rehearsal spaces, and or classrooms mean to you? So of course, this is for classrooms for you. And she's asking for a 30-second to a minute and 30-second video answering that question. And then they get submitted to her form by the end of the month. As you know, the board is, or the community is voting on a bond that largely, I believe, will be going to middle school renovations. And there's a separate one for fine arts facilities for middle school. And they've done quite a bit with high school in this, with like the past bond, but our middle schools are pretty neglected. And so the more feedback we can get on this, I think the better, with helping to get our community on board so that you have things like access to kiln rooms and water in your classrooms, because not everyone has that. And all right, so, oh, and enjoy your flex days if you're done. And I again apologize that I haven't updated that. We are hopeful that we'll get a secretary within the next month, and then that'll free us up to do things like that. But if you aren't finished with your flex, UNT, we have 3 professors coming out who are going to teach us about design thinking. And that's going to be here at IM Terrell in the 3D art room from 12 to 1. So I think it's going to be a great experience. Wendy and I are very excited about it. What?
Did you say 12 to 1 or 12 to 3?
Oh, sorry, 12 to 3. Yeah, so 12 to 3. So it's 3
Oh,
hours.
get out early.
For those of you who always are emailing me, I hate doing asynchronous flex. Here's your chance to come and do something in person. But if you have all your flex done, enjoy your 4-day weekend. That'll be exciting.
We're jealous.
Yeah. But thanks for being on here. And if you have questions, stay on. If not, enjoy your weekend.
I have a quick question.
Yes, Charity.
I have been doing a lot of the oh gosh, I'm having a brain fart right now.
Is that the Art of Ed?
Art of Ed, yeah. So we can do of all of those except our 9 hours that we need on our campus, right?
Correct, but make sure you're doing more than just studio stuff. So it needs to be like, you know, some teaching stuff, not just how to create art. Because I said the media ones are going to count as your elective, and then everything else that's teaching related, social and emotional, all of that.
Art therapy basics, math and art.
Right, any of those things. Because we had some teachers last year who just did studios, like all media techniques. And, you know, the needs of our students are always changing so quickly that we need to keep up on our pedagogy as well.
Okay.
But yes, you can do all but your campus stuff, and talk to your principal. Your principal might even be okay with you doing the rest that way. So
she's got a book study coming up for us.
Okay.
Luck on that.
All right, well then I guess you're doing a book study. So, but sometimes you get surprised, and it can create some unity within your campus to all read the same thing and discuss it. And so there's some value to that as well. So I understand why they would want to do that.
Okay.
But I hope you feel better, and I'm glad you're getting your house clean and it was a mild case.
Yeah, I got pretty bored after a few days, so.
Sure. Well, hopefully they'll let you out soon.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Yay.
All right. Take care. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Chris.
Okay, you're on mute.
Oh, he
No,
just doesn't have,
does he not?
yeah, it doesn't say that he's on mute.
Okay,
Now
no,
it-
it says,
okay,
no, it says
I'm
I need to
gonna-
ask to unmute. It says ask you to unmute. Can you? Oh, there you go. No,
Nope.
your audio must not be connected. Do you? If you want to type it in the chat, we can respond to you.
I heard a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, in terms of, so with Flex, it's broken up into 3 categories. You have your content, and that's 12 Flex hours. And you can do Art of Ed or any of the courses that we offer, and we have some asynchronous ones as well. 9 of your hours are through your campus, so you have to work with your principal on what they're doing, but sometimes they're, you know, principals are letting them choose other things, so you just have to talk to them. And then the other 9 is your elective. So for us, if you're doing media-based or media techniques, we count that as elective in Art of Ed. But if you're doing any of the other stuff, then we count that as content. Now, if you've put it into the form I have for Art of Ed, I have not updated that yet. So that's why you're not seeing it. I hope to get a secretary in the next month, and then I'll start updating Flex, but it's pretty low on my list. And I apologize. There's just a lot of flat fires that we're trying to keep up with Teresa being out or not being here. And so, yeah, so did that answer your question? Is it, so it's possible to do all of your content and elective on Art of Ed, but you would have to get approval from your campus to do that, those 9 hours from them, because we don't control that at all. That has to be through them. And they might say yes, I just don't know. All right, did you have another question? Or I would know you want to get it approved. So you asked if your print, like if you just show your principal, get it approved by your principal first before you do it. So these are some courses I found that I can take. Would you approve these for my campus Flex, or is there something specific you want me to do? Okay. Does that answer your questions? Okay. All right. Thanks, Chris. Hello, Angela.
Hi, sorry, I was in a parent conference.
Okay. I recorded it, and then
Okay.
I put the slideshow. It's pretty self-explanatory on the share drive, and then we'll get that video up by tomorrow.
Okay, and then I did have a question. When I submitted my order back in July, I had requested some technology items, and Teresa had called me and told me that they were gonna be submitted separately because they couldn't come out of the same budget. But I didn't know if there's something I need to do since Teresa's not here.
Okay, did you look on the sheet to see if she like put them in separately? Here, let me
Um,
stop the recording so that we don't need to.